Hey there, it's time for a Q&A video. So I asked you to send some questions on Instagram and you did, so I'm going to answer those questions. Mostly they're illustration related, but there's also some general type of questions. So I got a lot of questions asking about my inspiration to start drawing or how I started drawing. And really, I've been drawing since I can remember. I used to love drawing as a small child. I would draw these characters and then I would make up stories about them and kind of play them out in my mind. And yeah, so I don't know, it's just something that I always enjoyed doing. But then adulthood happened and I kind of went to study a different field and everything, and I just didn't have time to draw or energy to draw very much, so I only did it occasionally and I was kind of really bummed out about it, and kind of even had like a bit of a crisis because I'd always considered myself a creative person, and suddenly I felt like I was just doing all this academic stuff and not art, which is what I really wanted to be doing. So after I graduated, I really just started drawing all the time and kind of just fell in love with drawing again, and I've been on that road ever since. MetaDraw asks quite a lot of things. First, did I go to art school? No, I did not go to art school. They also ask, what books did you use for practice? I don't really use books. I don't think I've used books for practice. If anything, I watch a lot of YouTube videos by other illustrators, especially like if I want to try a new medium. Like a year ago, I started practicing watercolors. So I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube and also on Skillshare. Also, where would you like to travel? Where wouldn't I like to travel, to be honest? Well, I would love to visit Japan again. I went there last spring for 2 weeks and it was one of the most amazing places and amazing holidays I've ever had. Where would I like to go also that I haven't been to before? New Zealand, definitely. The nature looks amazing. I've been dying to visit for like the past 15 years. Ever since I saw the Lord of the Rings movies. They also ask, coffee or tea? Coffee. Yeah, I'm a coffee drinker. I do love tea, but coffee is like what I need to get going. And yes. How many languages do you speak? Fluently English and also Finnish. Finnish is my native language. A little bit of German and Swedish. Favorite color? Yeah, you guessed it, yellow. It has been my favorite color for the past year at least. And finally, any tips for beginners or struggling artists? Well, I kind of still consider myself a struggling artist, to be fair, but I would say that the most important and probably like the first step is to the first step is to draw. Just draw as much as you possibly can and keep doing it consistently. But the next most important thing is to put your work out there. Put it online for people to see. Share it with others. Show your friends. That's really the biggest thing, and that's what's making it possible for me at the moment to pursue illustration, is the online community, mostly on Instagram. So yes, share your work and make a lot of it. Like just draw, draw, draw. Journal by Joy asks, how did you start illustrating? It happened through Instagram, on Instagram. So as I started gaining followers, people started asking me if I do commissions. So it was only last year that I made my first commission ever. I had the goal to start selling my art, but also I just felt like I wasn't ready. So many people struggle with this. If people are enjoying your work, if they're approaching you, you are ready. But it's this thing, it's this perfectionism thing, which is so like, it's so harmful to us because no one's ever ready. Like everyone's gonna keep improving all the time. There's no point in just pushing it back, and I don't know, like I get this feeling. I struggled with it for many years and I wish I would have gotten over it like years ago, because that was the thing that was stopping me from even sharing my art online. Was I just felt like I wasn't good enough for, to share my art. But when I did, I actually like started seeing the most improvement I've seen in several years. So yeah, okay, I'm just going everywhere with this question now, but yeah, I hope I answered that and that this tangent was also valuable to you. They also ask, what goals do you have this year? Well, one goal I have is to have my work, my illustration work, published. So far I've only self-published my work. If you don't know, I have my own online store and I sell my illustrated goods there. I have postcards and prints. I also have stickers, sticker sheets, and now even handmade pins. So I design my own products with my illustrations and I publish them and produce them and make them by hand. That's a big goal. Otherwise I think just to keep working and keep doing illustration work as much as I possibly can. Okay, and finally they ask, ultimate dream to achieve. Well, first of all, the ultimate dream is to support myself with illustration, like solely with illustration, because I've only started. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm hopeful that I'm getting there. One dream is definitely to illustrate a children's book. I love children's books, picture books so much, and yeah, it would be a dream to illustrate one. Then Ingrid Cat asks, are you optimistic or pessimistic about your dreams and plans? I'm often so pessimistic. Yeah, I definitely get that way too. I would say generally I try to remain optimistic, but also I get anxious a lot and I stress out a lot, and it can feel so hopeless because being a freelance, anything, but especially like a creative freelancer, it's just so, you never know. It's not safe at all. There's no guarantees about anything. You need to work so hard and you just can't know if it will work out. And so many things I feel like that I'm working on now, they will kind of bear fruit in years. So it's like, I get it. It can feel so overwhelming at times, but generally I am very hopeful. I try and stay optimistic because I want this so much, and I can see that this is something I can achieve. It's just, it's so slow. It's a lot slower than you might maybe think. So that can be discouraging too. But I try to keep the end goal in mind and just keep reminding myself that I'm working constantly to, move towards that goal. And I feel like I am, so at times pessimistic, but overall I try and be optimistic. Also, what is your biggest dream? Well, since I already answered it illustration-wise, I could interpret this as like a life dream. I don't have like any fancy dreams. My biggest dream, I would say, is to live a meaningful and happy life with people around me who I love and who love me, and spend my time doing something that fulfills me and that I feel has purpose. And I think I'm doing pretty good right now, so fingers crossed. Yeah, that's the ultimate dream for me. Also, do you like people? Yes, I like people. I'm also shy, so I get scared of people. I'm scared of people, but I'm super into people and meeting new people, even though I'm also like so scared of new people. So, yes, I like people. I like people a lot. Yes. Yes. Woman with Pencils asks, do you listen to music or podcasts, videos, etc. while you're drawing? And if yes, what do you listen to? Yeah, most of the time I definitely listen to or watch, even kind of watch something while I'm drawing. Podcasts that I enjoy, I don't listen to that many of them regularly, so I would actually love to hear your recommendations. But the ones I listen to are Creative Pep Talk, which is amazing for anyone who is in or thinking of starting a creative career or in creative business at all, or just interested in creative businesses or just being creative even. And also Feminist Frequency, they have their own podcast now, which I've been really enjoying. And as for kind of videos that I like to watch, well, YouTube pretty much. I watch YouTube daily. Kind of feels like you're drawing with a friend if you're drawing while watching someone else draw or just talk. Is very comforting to me, and kind of because being an illustrator and self-employed, anything can be pretty lonely, so I think YouTube is like very good for that. What advice would you like to give to illustrators who want to start to sell their illustrations online? Definitely start by showing your work online and sharing it with others, and then when you have people who are showing interest in what you do, then you can think about maybe trying out with one of these print-on-demand type of services, or if you want your own online store, just do a lot of research. There are so many good tutorials on Etsy and selling on Etsy, and other platforms too, I would imagine. You can do commissions. That's something that doesn't really require any investments because you're creating original art. That's also what I first started doing. Mademoiselle Bambel asks, how did you find your drawing style? Was it a long process, or is it just the way you naturally draw? Any tips to find one's own style? This is a question I get a lot on Instagram, and I find it kind of difficult to answer. Just by drawing a lot, your style will emerge. From all this drawing, you kind of start to see what works for you, what you like. the look of and what you don't. Yeah, it's definitely something that's kind of developed throughout all the years I've drawn. My style has obviously changed a lot in all these years of drawing, and that is totally natural, and I think everyone's style kind of keeps evolving and changing as they grow as an artist and try new things. Definitely, if you have no clue on how you want to draw or what is your way to draw, maybe you could look at some of your favorite artists, but not just one, but several. Like take, I don't know, your 10 favorite illustrators. Look at their art and kind of pay attention to what it is that you like about those artists and their illustrations, and then try and implement those things that you find. And I don't mean to try and copy those illustrators. I mean things like, oh, I love the way this person lines with brown ink. I want to try lining my art with brown ink. You know, these more general things. Or I love the way this person draws her character's eyes is very big. Like, I want to draw big eyes too. Don't copy those eyes the way she draws them. Just experiment. Like, find the things that you like about all these people's art and try to combine those things into something of your own. You should like have a variety of influences. I think that could be very helpful. Okay, and finally, how do you define your color palette? Do you follow seasons? And I also had a similar question from Laura B. Draws. How do you choose your colors? I would say I sometimes maybe kind of do follow seasons, maybe subconsciously. I feel like I draw with a lot of earthy tones, definitely, and I think that's especially evident in the autumn. Like, I get very inspired by the autumn colors for sure. But I've been into like brighter colors also with my clothes, so I think that's kind of bleeding into my art also, which is natural. I usually start with a sketch and then I see what kind of colors I like to color the sketch with. Oh my god. I usually make swatches, so I kind of try out the colors like next to each other, see how they look together, and then I just go with it. Usually I find myself maybe trying to attain some kind of mood. Like, a lot of my illustrations I feel have this very calm mood, so usually I approach colors like that too. I want kind of this harmony, but then sometimes I also want like a very energetic mood or something, and also yes, so I mostly work like I sketch first and then I see what colors work. But sometimes I actually get really inspired by a color or a combination of colors, and I just want to draw something with those colors, so that also happens. And yeah, but it's like, it's one of my favorite things about drawing is the colors. Plants Kid asks, do you live alone or with your family? Neither. I live together with my partner only, in our own apartment. Yeah, so, well, it's like a family of two. Serial Mel asks, seems like you're dedicating more time to your illustrations. How's that going for you? One of my dreams is to get better at my art skills and do something with them, like an online shop of my own, but I'm just not sure. Yes, so I am, in fact, trying to dedicate more time for art. I just started my own business a couple of months ago, in November, yeah. It's hard. As with any business, starting out can be it's quite scary. I have been like very lucky in getting work and commission work especially, which I just love doing commissions. It's so special to make something that's like personal and unique, and I just find that so lovely. And yeah, I'm loving I'm loving doing what I love. But yeah, also as a business owner, it's surprisingly difficult to find time for drawing, I have to say. I didn't quite foresee that. But yeah, I'm happy with where I am. Of course, more work is always welcome, and it's like is what I'm constantly striving for, to have more illustration work. And as for your dreams of getting better and possibly opening an online store, just drawing a lot is like the best way to do it. So just draw a lot, and also yeah, share your work. And yeah, oh my god, I think this has gone on forever, and I'm not sure if I've answered any of your questions in like any. I feel like I don't know what I'm saying because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, okay. These are the last questions, and they are from. I'm gonna butcher this. En liten kokte. I have no idea. Is this Norwegian? En liten kokte. Anyway, they ask if you were a dessert. If you were a dessert, what would you be? Okay, so out of all the questions, this is like the hardest one, which is just ridiculous. Because this is like, it's a funny question. Why is this? Oh, I'm taking like way too much pressure about this question. Okay, if I was a dessert, I'd be ice cream. I can't think of anything else right now. Ice cream is fun and nice. What is your favorite animal? Oh, I love all animals. Honestly, I love so many animals, but maybe a dog. I love dogs so much. What has been best and worst age until now in your life, and why? I would say my best age has been, well, let's say 29, because that was last year. I felt pretty good the whole year. First of all, I started my business. I started really like sharing my illustrations and doing illustration work. I accomplished like so many of my goals. I had the courage to pursue my passion. I just felt like so much calmer and driven and excited than I have in years. It was also like super scary, and I did so many new things. Oh yeah, I also started Helsinki Drawing Club with my friend Sasha. We did workshops. Yeah, it was such a nice. Oh yeah, I played my first live show. Well, several shows. There were just a lot of firsts that happened last year. So I would say, I would say that was my favorite year. Maybe another favorite age was when I was 25 and me and Ollie fell in love. That was pretty sweet time. Okay, worst year in my life, 19, I would say. I kind of spiraled. I was not feeling good at all. I was feeling terrible, and especially terrible about myself. I was just struggling really hard. I think that was like the lowest point. Also the lowest point in my self-esteem, and like I had no self-love. I was lost. Finally, ooh, this is the last question. If you were a piece of clothing, what would you be? I think I would be dungarees, or a dungaree dress. What do you call this? Pinafore dress. Because they're playful and they're nice and comfy and they support you. Yes. Okay, that has been this Q&A. If you have any more questions for me, please leave them down below, because I'd love to do more of these. Although I have to say it was surprisingly difficult to answer all these questions, like way more difficult than I anticipated, but also fun, and I hope you also enjoyed it. Yeah, but until next time, bye bye.